And, of course, the Gators, the Hurricanes, the Bulldogs will follow a week later. Jaguars up in Atlanta for a joint practice with the Falcons. We will get into that as well. In fact, when you talk about our guest lineup for tonight, that's where we will begin. Wes Durham, the play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Falcons. You also see him all over the ACC network with college football duties. We're going to have Wes Durham up here on Hacker After Dark in about a half an hour. We'll talk a little Jaguars and Falcons. We'll talk Florida State. We'll also talk Miami as well with Wes Durham. That's coming up at 8:35. Towards the 9 o'clock hour, the head coach of Ed White, Lawrence Johnson, is going to join us as we are 2 days away from the first Friday night of the high school football regular season. Of course, the Friday Night Lights postgame will air right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM on Friday evening. So Lawrence Johnson, the head coach of Ed White, coming up towards the 9 o'clock hour. At 9:15, my friend Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com, as he has toured a lot of training camps. We will talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll also talk a little Philadelphia Eagles, a little Pittsburgh Steelers, a little Gardner Minshew. A lot going on. We'll talk with Jeff Kerr about it all. National NFL writer for CBS Sports. And finally, at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour tonight, my friend Brent Beard, as we finally, after 7 long months, have college football games to actually discuss. I know it's not a great slate of games, but I do not care. We have, 12, 15 college football games this Saturday, and we'll start our weekly previews with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him here on Hacker After Dark. But as we always do, Jacksonville, Florida, here on a Wednesday night edition, we begin each show with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, so one more joint practice tomorrow in Atlanta. One more preseason game on Saturday in Atlanta for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's it for the preseason. That'll be all she wrote for training camp. And it's go time. The Jaguars are going to have to cut 30-some-odd players, some of which will get brought back to the practice squad. But training camp is basically in the books. The preseason will be in the books 72 hours from now. Doesn't it feel like last week or a couple weeks ago that the Jaguars arrived for training camp? We were so excited about the Hall of Fame game in Canton, then the Cleveland game, then the Pittsburgh game. It went quick. The Jaguars reported to training camp 1 month ago today. Remember, it was on July 24th that the Jaguars reported. 1 month ago. August 24th is where we sit right now. So, here is my question to you, Jaguar fans. On the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010. Also hit me up on Twitter at Ryan Green 1010XL. That's at Ryan Green 1010XL. What have we learned about this Jaguar football team in the last month? Since they reported to camp in the last month, what have we learned? What have we found out that maybe we did not know the entire offseason? I'll give you a couple that I learned. And you just kind of, follow along, give me your own. I'm curious what we have found out about this Jaguar football team. Right off the gate, Luke Fortner in the third round was a terrific draft pick. If you draft somebody in round number 3 and they come in basically as your opening day starter at the start of training camp, that was a heck of a pick, man. I think all indications coming into camp a month ago were that might be a battle between Luke Fortner and Tyler Shatley. There was no battle to be had. That's been Luke Fortner's job the entire camp. And that will be his job on September 11th when the Jaguars head to Washington to open up the regular season against the Commanders. So right out of the gate, I found out Luke Fortner was the real deal as a third-round draft pick. More on the rookie class. Trayvon Walker has lived up to the hype. Trayvon Walker has been disruptive Trayvon Walker in the Hall of Fame game was a force. I am very excited with what Trayvon Walker has given the Jaguars in a month of training camp and in 3 preseason games. You've noticed Trayvon Walker every time he's been out there. Whether it was getting a sack in the Hall of Fame game, drawing a critical holding penalty, and helping to force a fumble against Cleveland. He was in the backfield being very disruptive many times against Pittsburgh. I am absolutely 100% fine with what we've seen out of Trayvon Walker. Love it. Love every bit of it. Continue to grow. And look, I'll be honest with you. You guys know this. If you listened to me before the draft, I was not on the Trayvon Walker train. I wanted Aiden Hutchinson. But as more time goes by, I'm willing to bet I might have been wrong in that thought, in that evaluation, because I really like what I've seen out of Trayvon Walker. Something else that I've learned, Travis Etienne's back. I had a lot of questions a month ago. I'm sure you did too. Coming into training camp, coming in from the Liz Frank injury last year. How would Etienne look? It's been 2 games, and they've given him the ball. 18 carries, I think, between both games, Cleveland and Pittsburgh. They have fed Travis Etienne the ball. And almost every time he's carried it this preseason, you kind of hold your breath, at least I have. Is he going to get up? Is he going to limp off the field? Is he going to be ginger on that foot? None of that. And he's taken some pretty good hits. It's a physical Pittsburgh defense he played against last week. He bounced up every time. So my concern about Travis Etienne coming into training camp was unwarranted. He looks good. He looks like the rehab went well. And I think he's good to go. So Luke Fortner at center, Trayvon Walker, Travis Etienne. Tell you a couple of other things that have stood out that I've learned. I learned Arden Key might be a lot better than maybe we thought coming into camp. Remember the big free agent haul, second week of March? Christian Kirk and Brandon Scherf and Foye Oluokun, Fatukasi, Ingram, Darius Williams. Oh, it was great. And those guys have all looked the part. But Arden Key was signed a couple of weeks after all those guys. Was not really considered to be a big free agent signing. Have any one of those free agents been better than Arden Key in the preseason? Look, I think we've seen glimpses of Fatukasi. We've seen glimpses of Evan Ingram. We've seen Zay Jones do some nice things. Arden Key's got 3 sacks in 3 games. And he hasn't played in the second half of any of them, I don't think. And he's been darn close to a couple other sacks. That guy has been a force. I absolutely love the fact if you get production like that out of Arden Key to go with Josh Allen, to go with Trayvon Walker, to go with DeJuan Smoot. Are you kidding me, man? Sign me up for that. That guy has been outstanding. On the offensive line, I would have thought by August the 24th we would have some clarity between Jawaan Taylor and Walker Little. Maybe the coaches do. But they basically split the reps 50-50 against Pittsburgh. And I don't know if either one of them is going to play against Atlanta. Didn't you think a month into camp, 2.5 weeks before the opener in Washington, we would have known who the right tackle was going to be? We talked about this battle the entire offseason. We talked about it in May and June and July. Walker Little versus Jawaan Taylor. Jawaan Taylor versus Walker Little. It's not a surprise that was the biggest competition coming into camp. To me, the surprise is that we still don't have an answer on the 24th day of August. Based on what I've seen, And again, I've talked to both sides. I've talked to guys that think Walker Little should get the start. I've talked to guys that think Jawaan Taylor should get the start. If you had to pin me down right now, just based on what I've seen this preseason, I would probably lean Jawaan Taylor. It's close. I'm not saying there's a drastic drop-off, but I would probably lean Jawaan Taylor and have Walker Little as definitely your backup right tackle, maybe your swing tackle. He did play the left side in college. So we'll see where it lands there between Walker Little and Jawaan Taylor. Other things I've learned. Christian Kirk. I went on this rant on Monday. I'm not going to do it again. Oh, he's not a number one receiver. We got to have a number one receiver. Got to. Well, okay, whatever. All I know is the guy caught 5 passes for 54 yards in one half against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he was open on 2 other occasions that Trevor missed him. Of course, that wasn't Trevor's fault. He's a generational quarterback. I'm sure it was Kirk's fault because he's not a number one receiver. For all of those that are saying, oh, we don't have a number one, you keep saying that. I'll continue watching Christian Kirk catch 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 passes a game. And at the end of the year, when Christian Kirk has 90 grabs for 1,150 yards and 7 touchdowns, then we can talk about who's a number one receiver or not. I also like what I've seen out of Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Marvin Jones. You know what we haven't seen anything of is Laviska Shenault, at least in the passing game. We saw him trying to return punts against Pittsburgh. He put one on the ground. There's an article on CBSSports.com today, 12 NFL players that should get traded before the final cuts, and Laviska Shenault's on that list. And here we go again with that. Didn't we do this past offseason? I had Kansas City radio stations. I had Green Bay radio stations calling me up, asking me to come on their shows to talk about Laviska Shenault. Because in those markets, they wanted their teams to trade for Laviska Shenault. I don't know why he gets such a bad rap here. It's obvious that he's going to be down on the depth chart, and I'm fine with that. But the guy's played 2 years. He's caught 121 passes for over 1,200 yards in 2 years of action. I'm serious. Tell me the last time a Jaguar receiver in 2 years has 120-plus catches. I bet you probably got to go back to Allen Robinson in 14 and 15 would be my guess. Or I guess maybe 15 and 16. But I bet it's Allen Robinson. But is Shenault in the plans here? Is K'Lavon Chaisson in the plans? Those are probably the two, right? When you start looking at the cuts that are going to be made next week, is Shenault going to be here? Is Chaisson going to be here? I would keep both of them, and I'll tell you why. What do you gain by releasing them? You don't gain anything. They're on rookie deals. They're on second-round deal in Shenault's case. Chaisson's a first-round deal, but they're on rookie manageable contracts. I don't believe that K'Lavon Chaisson is not one of the top 22 defensive players on this Jaguar roster. 23 defensive players. Just like I don't believe Laviska Shenault is not one of the top 22 to 23 offensive players on this Jaguar roster. So I have no idea why you would release Shenault or release Chaisson. You'd like to see more out of him. You'd like to see more production. Chenault's buried right now, though, on the depth chart, obviously. Chaisson's not. Chaisson might get more opportunities. Putting Shenault in the punt return game almost seems like they're forcing him on the field to try to get something out of him. Because they know with Kirk, with Marvin Jones, with Zay Jones, with Evan Ingram, with Travis Etienne, that doesn't even count James Robinson, that Chenault's going to be the 6th or 7th option on this offense. But I would still keep him because, again, I don't know what you gain by releasing him. But I think we've learned a lot, man. 1 month in. Again, one more joint practice in Atlanta tomorrow. One more game in Atlanta on Saturday. A game that very few starters are going to play. That's another question I'm going to ask you guys on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You play Devin Lloyd on Saturday? If he's cleared, do you play him? Looks like very, very, very few, if any other starting caliber players, are going to play. But because Devin Lloyd is a rookie, because he's never taken a snap in an NFL game, do you want to see Devin Lloyd out there even for a little bit against Atlanta if he's cleared to go? Or do you say, nope, I'm good. We'll see him in Washington on September 11th. 641-1010 is the phone number if you want to get involved on the phone line or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. It is a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Coming up next, we'll get into the world of college football as we are less than 72 hours away from the college football season getting underway. Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us on Hacker After Dark. More to do here on 1010XL.
Professional radio broadcasters.
Sorry.
Dinner dozen gifts. A diner dozen.
That is awful.
So Cole.
I was flowing real good, then wasn't it?
You've got to be kidding me.
Professional, for crying out loud.
Who wrote this?
1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
School's in session, and here's today's lesson. Buy any new vehicle from the comfort of your couch with virtual test drives, payment calculators, and home deliveries. Plus, every new car comes with a 20-year, 200,000-mile peace of mind warranty. That means it'll still be under warranty when you can drive. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. Your deadline is August 31st. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
There's still time to purchase your tickets for the Summer Nights presented by 1-2-1 Financial. Enjoy an evening affair benefiting Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida as you enjoy delicious foods from local restaurants like Orsay, craft cocktails, fine wine, and craft beer while dancing to live music from the Bold City Classics. Summer Nights will be held Saturday, August 27th at the Glass Factory. Purchase your tickets at tinyurl.com/1010 Summer Nights.
Waste Management is paying a $5,000 bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine. Apply online at wm.com/careers.
Equal opportunity employer.
Googans, do you suffer with neck or back pain? My friend Dr. Alan Nathans at Disc Centers of America on Bay Meadows Road helps people diagnosed with bulging, herniated, and degenerated discs, sciatica, or stenosis. Dr. Nathans uses that DRX 9000 non-surgical spinal decompression table to gently unbulge and unherniate discs that are causing sciatica. Don't do another cortisone injection. Stay active and healthy as you get older. Dancing at 50, golf at 60, the river run at 70. Yes, yes, and yes. DrNathans.com.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinsky. The physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Prime Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 904-664-8217. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
This is Brandon with North Florida Epoxy Floors. Our product gives you a custom high-quality appearance and the longest-lasting finish at a more affordable price. So for your garage, home, or business, research the difference between 100% solids epoxy and the products like polyurea, which can be kinda fishy. Our epoxy includes a moisture vapor barrier, essential in Florida, so your North Florida epoxy floor looks great and is warranted with no fine print. Get a free estimate at northfloridaepoxyfloors.com.
How wide is the moon? The answer coming right up.
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The moon is roughly 2,100 miles wide, about a 3-day drive.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
At Hidden Hills Golf Club, we're seeing more golfers enjoying the game than ever before. Friends, fun, and fresh air on a fantastic golf course is what it's all about. And if you want to get in the game, visit hiddenhillsgc.com and book your tee time today.
So you're working on your car and truck, need a part, and someone who can advise you on how to install it. Come to Rusty Acres. They have the expertise and largest inventory of used Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury parts. Rusty Acres, 786-1777.
Kuhn Flowers is now offering their buy a dozen, get a dozen assorted roses free for just $74.95. Better hurry. This is a limited time offer. Kuhn's 75th anniversary. Buy a dozen assorted roses and get a dozen absolutely free. Kuhn Flowers.
Kick off this fall on the links at Junior Achievement's annual Golf Classic at San Jose Golf and Country Club. For more than 11 years, the funds raised support JA's efforts to help inspire and prepare our youth to succeed in a global economy. All participants enjoy on-the-green breakfast, lunch, drinks, post-play reception, awards, contests, prizes, and much more. To play or sponsor, contact Stephanie Seaman at janfl.org or call 398-9944, extension 231.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 24th, 2008, the star-studded American men's basketball team led by Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Chris Paul win gold in the Olympics.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Glad you're with us. Wednesday night edition, Hacker After Dark. As always, we are streaming. You can catch the show live on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search 1010XL. You'll see Hacker After Dark there till 10 o'clock tonight. Be sure and like and subscribe while you're there. Also on Twitter, the radio station Twitter handle at 1010XL. You'll see Hacker After Dark there until 10 o'clock this evening. A reminder as well, Gator Bites podcast returns today. Denny Thompson and I recorded it earlier. 1010XL.com, Florida Gator fans, for the Gator Bites podcast. You can also watch the show on the Florida Gator 1010XL Facebook page. We'll put a new one out every week. And the first one dropped today for the 2022 season, the Gator Bites podcast. 641-1010 is the phone number. If you want to get involved, we'll get into the world of college football in just a little bit. Before we get there, let's head to the phone lines here on Hacker After Dark and get Kenny up here on 1010XL. Kenny, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Hacker?
Kenny, how are you, man?
We missed you on prime time, man. I just wanted to say that first.
Thank you, buddy. I enjoy what I'm doing here, but yeah, I miss the fellas there as well.
Right? You're doing great, though, man. Hey, I just wanted to comment on two things. That thing you said about Shenault, man, I completely agree. Like, he just seems like he's kind of buried on the depth chart. It almost seemed like, a gimmick when they put him out there. He almost looked like a deer in the headlights when he caught that punt, and I don't think that's the role for him. If they can get maybe 1 to 5 plays that are scripted for him out of the game, I understand why they keep him, but right now I almost kind of wonder if they're going to keep him or if they even have him on the trade block.
Kenny, appreciate the phone call, man. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I just thought it was weird to put Shenault back as a punt returner. We just haven't seen that. Now, I'm all for exploring and experiencing new things and trying new things out in preseason football, but the depth chart doesn't lie. I mean, there's one football last time I checked. They don't play with numerous footballs. And right now you got Christian Kirk, you got Marvin Jones, you got Zay Jones, it looks like Evan Ingram, obviously Travis Etienne. Those are your options. That does not take into account James Robinson when he gets back. I'm not even counting Dan Arnold or Chris Manhertz in that conversation. So there appears to be a lot of people in front of Laviska Shenault. Having said that, you could do a ton worse than having Laviska Shenault as your fourth wide receiver. I don't know how many fourth wide receivers in the NFL right now have caught 120 passes in the last 2 years. So it's not a crime to keep Shenault on the roster. I had some people on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures say, cut him, this, that, or the other. Well, why? If there's somebody better than him, okay. But if you tell me that my 4 top wide receivers are Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Laviska Shenault, I'm pretty happy with that. I would just like to see Shenault have been more involved in the offense this preseason. I know he battled an injury, right? He didn't even play in the Cleveland game. I think Pittsburgh was his first real playing time, but he hasn't done much with this new offensive squad they got here in Jacksonville. Back to the phone line, 641-1010. Let's get Christopher in on Hacker After Dark. Christopher, what's going on?
What's up, Hacker? How are you?
Good, brother. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I just put something on the text line, but figured it gets you easier this way. Yeah, honestly, I think a really good use for Viska. You know, I was listening to guys on Jaguars today earlier, and they were talking about how Coach Peterson's going to like to use the wide receiver screen a lot. And I think, you know, if Viska wants a good role, put him out there on the screens and put him as a lead blocker. You know, he likes to hit guys, and it's going to be a team effort this year. So we don't have a lot of like number one guys, but let him go out there and hit some guys, and I think it'll open up for ETN, Marvin Jones, Kirk. Man, I think that would be great, and just give him some little plays here and there. But
hey, Christopher, thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it. No, I agree. Look, the Jaguars have guys that can do a lot of things, right? Travis Etienne can do a lot of things. You can line him up as a wide receiver. You can have him in the backfield. You can reverses, sweeps, screens, toss sweeps. You can do a lot of stuff. Shenault's the same type dude. You can line Shenault up in the backfield. You can line Shenault up outside, inside, flanker screen, reverse. A lot of different things. And look, I don't think we've seen 75% of the Jaguars' offensive playbook. Why would you? They're going to have 2 solid weeks before Washington to fine-tune everything. Why would you give away things in the preseason? Particularly with an offensive coordinator in Press Taylor and a head coach in Doug Peterson. You weren't going to give away a lot in the preseason anyway, so maybe they do have packages for Shenault. We just haven't seen very much of it to this point. But again, I would keep Shenault. I do not want them to trade him. I do not want them to release him. K'Lavon Chaisson's the same way. Now, K'Lavon Chaisson being a first-round pick, boy, at this point in Taven Bryan's career, we were calling him a bust, right? Coming into year 3, Taven Bryan was an absolute bust. Are we there with Chaisson? Yeah, I think we probably are. He is a bust as a first-round pick. But, look, with Arden Key and with DeJuan Smoot and with Trayvon Walker and with Josh Allen, you wear down an offensive line, you bring a guy in like Chaisson, maybe he could do some things this year. He's clearly not going to be the guy on any defense. We've seen that. It's been proven true. He's not going to be your main pass rusher or your second pass rusher. But can he be your 4th or 5th option? Yeah. I think you could do a lot worse than K'Lavon Chaisson as your 4th or 5th option, best option, as far as rushing the passer. 641-1010 is the phone number. We will get into the world of college football. Florida State, 3 days away. They take on Duquesne coming up on Saturday, a 5 o'clock kick at Doak Campbell Stadium. I did see this. CBS Sports is doing their conference breakdowns, their conference predictions for the entire year. It's so funny. Florida is all over the place. Some people have Florida pick 2nd in the East. Some have Florida pick 3rd in the East. Some have Florida picked 4th in the East. no one can really get a grasp on what this Gator team is going to be this year. You want to hear a very interesting conversation, dare I say a heated conversation, head on over to 1010XL.com and check out Gator Bites with Denny Thompson and myself earlier today. I'll just give you a little teaser. Denny is of the opinion that Florida's roster is every bit as good as Utah's. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And I love Denny, but it's nonsense. That Utah team went to the Rose Bowl, won the Pac-12, returns like 15 starters. This Gator team lost to a junior college quarterback at South Carolina last year. Lost to a Missouri team that was just terrible last year. And because you bring in a new coaching staff, that miraculously is going to make them better. We tend to forget Dan Mullen went to 3 New Year's Six bowl games before last year. And then the bottom fell out, and they lost 6 out of 8 conference games. Look, can Florida win against Utah? Of course they can. I'm not going to pick them to do it, but they can. But to sit there and tell me that they have a better roster than the defending Pac-12 champion, based on what? Here's what I know about Utah. They got an all Pac-12 quarterback, a guy that is preseason, third team or honorable mention All-American candidate. And I love Anthony Richardson, but he's thrown 64 passes. So if we're going to have an objective conversation, Gator fans, you got a first-team all Pac-12 quarterback in Cam Rising at Utah against a guy that threw 64 passes last year in Anthony Richardson. Are you honestly going to tell me Richardson's a better quarterback? If you are, I would disagree with you. Utah has 71 starts combined among their returning offensive linemen. 71. They returned 2 tailbacks that had 800-plus yards apiece last year. And I believe they returned 3 of their top 5 wide receivers. I'm flabbergasted at the notion that being in the swamp at night is going to propel Florida to victory. Well, maybe it'll help. It better. Better have some Florida Field magic on Saturday night, September 3rd. Because if you're going player for player with the Pac-12 champion, I don't know how good you're going to do. That and a lot more, I can tell you, on the Gator Bites podcast. We'll currently do more of that as well as this week goes along. And certainly next week, we will really ramp it up with Utah and Florida coverage leading into that game next Saturday night. With Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. Let's talk to a man that I absolutely love his work, both in the NFL and in college. That's Wes Durham. He is terrific. The play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Falcons. We'll do a little Jaguar Falcon talk with Wes. You also see him all over the ACC network. We'll talk Florida State. We'll talk Miami as well. My friend Wes Durham, next on Hacker After Dark.
Find the high groove this Saturday at Daytona.
He's been dominant here throughout the evening. At Daytona, the final time off turn 4.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 on Jacksonville's NASCAR station, 1010XL.
When it comes to plumbing problems, you gotta have your ducks in a row. Don't get fooled by the quacks in town claiming to be plumbers. They don't even have a license to operate. Yeah, you know who you are. The professionals at Duck Duck Rooter bring over 100 years of combined plumbing experience to the table and are fully licensed and insured. There isn't a plumbing problem we haven't seen and resolved.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Few things bring greater anticipation and excitement than the start of a new football season. Get fresh gossip, truth, and tips from 1010XL Insiders. Training camp coverage is brought to you by Roland Reich Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control.
Dierks Bentley is live at Daly's Place, August 28th. You can win tickets with a VIP package. Text Dierks to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures for your chance to win at 641-1010.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Universal Roof and Contracting.
Protect your roof from hurricanes with a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. Get $250 off a roof repair and $500 off a roof replacement project with a free warranty upgrade for first responders and veterans. Plus, no money down, no payments or interest for 1 year.
Offer expires August 31st. Restrictions apply.
License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
This is Hayes Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that specializes in pest, termites, mosquito, and rodent prevention. I tell you what, when I got my new home, I had to put on my reporter's hat, find out who really is the best, and it turns out there's no competition. Kingfish provides exceptional service and treats me like a valued customer, not just an account. That's why I wholeheartedly recommend Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here, and right now is the time to ramp up your drafting for fantasy football season. I always use Underdog Fantasy to draft now because there's no in-season management. Of course, I do it to try and win the $10 million in prizes too, but it organically prepares me for my local season-long drafts as well. So sign up now, head to UnderdogFantasy.com or the App Store, and when you do sign up, use promo code 1010XL. Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, don't forget to sign up with promo code 1010XL.
Hey, this is Ken with Fifth Element Adjusting. Let my team and I ensure your insurance claim is settled properly. We even helped Jeff Prosser get his roof replaced in 2016.
Thank goodness I had Ken Lawler and his team help me navigate the claim process. They did everything for me, filed it, scheduled it, completed it, and established a settlement. I got my damaged property replaced and got back to my life.
So call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit FEAClaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
Hacker here, and I'm taking a tour. Join me for high school football coverage like you've never seen before. Hacker's High School Football Tour. It's an all-new video series coming to you only on the channels of 1010XL.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The college football season begins this week. Florida State is on the field. North Carolina is on the field as the ACC, a couple of teams there get underway. Miami A week from Saturday, they will start their season under Mario Cristobal. And, of course, the Jaguars wrapping up preseason action on Saturday in Atlanta against the Atlanta Falcons. Let's talk about all of it with a guy you see on the ACC network, a guy you hear calling Atlanta Falcons games. He's one of the best around. That's our friend Wes Durham, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Wes, how you doing?
I'm great, Ryan. Good to be with you, man.
Hey, Wes, always appreciate the time. Let's begin Jaguars-Falcons. Joint practice today, joint practice tomorrow. The game on Saturday. From an Atlanta point of view, Wes, what is important for the Falcons to accomplish here in this final preseason matchup?
Just completing the evaluation process and kind of understanding where this was ultimately going to go, right? And I think that Atlanta wants to come out of training camp, and I think they've already played their front line people as much as anybody expected out of any team, quite frankly, in the league, right? But Atlanta wants to get at least the full evaluation. And I think the back end of the roster is going to be a little – how many tackles are you going to – how many offensive linemen are you going to keep, and in particular, how many tackles are you going to keep? I think that's going to be a real question. The two quarterbacks are the two quarterbacks, and then they've got the utility tool in Felipe Franks, who plays tight end and can quarterback the second half the other night in New York. So by the time they get to Saturday, the key areas for Atlanta defense, how does the linebacking and secondary mesh in terms of numbers? I think all that is going to factor into what ultimately Atlanta's 53 looks like when they get to that number. Now, some of that could be impacted if they feel like they haven't got the right chemistry in the offensive line. I think they're kind of settling in, but there could be a street free agent. Atlanta's one to do it in an era where they've been strapped here a little bit with the money on the salary cap. They've got enough money, I think, to hire the street free agent if it's going to impact their team and make them better.
Hey, Wes, we're recording this. I'm going to hit a button real quick because we're having a thunderstorm here in Jacksonville. If I disconnect you, I'll call you right back.
Okay, man.
Wes Durham, the play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Falcons. You also see him on the ACC network here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Always kind enough to join us here in the city of Jacksonville. Wes, I saw Kyle Pitts on Monday night make just an incredible play down the field. And look, he's a guy that we're very familiar with in these parts. What can we expect year two for Kyle Pitts there in Atlanta?
Well, I'll be stunned if he has more. He's got to have more than one touchdown. I still believe that's one of the great white elephants of last year was he only had the one touchdown catch. Ironically, against the Jets in London, he had 68 catches and 1,000 yards, which nobody's surprised about. The one touchdown does surprise you. So I think he'll be a real threat from a scoring perspective this year. The other thing is I think he's going to take 1.5 guys with him on every play, Ryan. And I think that's going to make somebody else a star in the throw game. Could help Atlanta in the run game. I think he's become a real fine professional player, and he's got a huge ceiling too. But, he's got to have some more success in the scoring zone for me for sure.
Marcus Mariota has brought in Arthur Smith, the head coach there, obviously familiar with Mariota. Is there a competition between he and Desmond Ridder, or is Mariota the guy?
I think Mariota's the guy. Now, knock on wood, regarding health, right? I mean, I don't think Desmond Ridder plays much at all unless there's a health perspective. If Marcus were to get hurt, I think Desmond Ridder has shown you, enough wherewithal to potentially be a guy who could start, but I think his time is down the road. But quite frankly, though, Ryan, if you have to, you have to now. I mean, Atlanta's in a position where you're going to have to find out at some point anyway. I think Marcus has had a really nice camp. I think he's had a really nice offseason, to be honest. I was impressed at minicamp and OTA with his willingness to kind of work with young guys. He seems to be a terrific guy, period. And, I'm kind of interested to see how it all unfolds. I think Atlanta's done an okay job. I don't think the expectations are very high. But I think that Mariota is probably right time, right place. But Dave Archer, who does the games with me, Ryan, we talk all the time. Falcons probably got a dozen guys that this might be it, in terms of their pro football lifestyle, chip on shoulder type guys. And I think that may work to Atlanta's advantage. And they need little things like that, quite frankly, given how difficult the schedule is going to be for them.
Wes, what was the shock value in that city the day they traded Matt Ryan? How did the Falcon fans handle that?
Oh, Ryan, for the last 4 years, I've always felt like that when Matt Ryan, no longer played either football or in Atlanta, that people would realize, within the next year or so how good they had it for 14 years. And I think a little of that's going to start to happen once the season begins. The shock value, I think the shock value is more probably in the way it happened than it happening, if that makes sense, right? There was this perceived pursuit of Deshaun Watson, and, obviously that went the route of the dinosaur at some point. But at the end of the day, Matt Ryan, it was either going to happen last year or at the end of this year, and the timing on it just wasn't very good. It's probably something that, the Falcons aren't proud of at the end of the day. It probably is something that Matt wished it probably happened another way, but I think everybody understands business is business, and Ryan is a first-rate guy. So I think he's okay going to a place like Indianapolis where, in the AFC South, he's going to have a chance to win a title and be a playoff team, especially with the way that Frank Reich and that group's built that team. So I think Matt's okay with it. There's no getting around the fact, though, that Ryan, in all honesty, he's the greatest player in franchise history. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not even in some respect, it's not even close. He's the only player in franchise history to be named MVP of the league. So, when I offer that back to people who say, well, what about X or what about Y or what about Z? And I go, well, this guy's the only guy to be the MVP. And they look and go, okay, you're right. So I think at the end of the day, everybody understands you just kind of move on from it, but it's not easy. We all know that. I mean, change is hard anytime, but it's especially hard when you've had 14 years of a guy, who's played it at such a high level as Matt has, for sure.
Wes, final Falcon-Jaguar-related issue. Want to get into some ACC thoughts as the Florida State Seminoles get ready to start their season on Saturday. Foye Oluokun here in Jacksonville now as the linebacker. We've seen glimpses of him. He hasn't played a whole lot. Let Jaguar fans know, Wes, what are they getting in Foye?
A terrific guy as a player off the field, and I think he's one that really understands the value of being a pro football player in the community. That's part of an Atlanta Falcon DNA, Ryan, that you just can't get away from. I think he'll be terrific on the First Coast. I really do. I think he's the kind of guy who gets it. And he's also the kind of guy that probably comes along at a time where, his experiences he's had the last couple of years is probably going to benefit Jacksonville down the road. I'd like to think Mike Caldwell probably gets a guy here who, in some ways, can just really, really help the growth of that defense. And I think you've got not only Foye, I mean, you got Trayvon Walker, you got Devin Lloyd, you got Josh Allen. I mean, I see a lot of guys on here who can make plays, to be honest. And so I'm kind of excited to see, how this defense will look on Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Obviously, I know Adam Gotsis from my time at Georgia Tech when he was there. Andre Cisco, I did a lot of his games at Syracuse. Shaq Quarterman's there trying to make the team. So at the end of the day, I'm kind of excited to see kind of how all of this gets pieced together, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a complete rebuild. You can imagine our offseason. Urban Meyer out, Doug Peterson in, and they have added a ton of people to this roster. Wes Durham, the voice of the Falcons. You also see him all over the ACC network. Wes, it's college football season. Hard to believe Florida State kicks it off on Saturday. Mike Norvell, look, I talked to a lot of Seminole alumni, former players. They all tell me the same thing. They like Mike Norvell. This is not an anti-Mike Norvell, the person. But year 3, he probably needs to win a little more this year. And if he doesn't, there could be some issues. What's your thought on Florida State coming into the year?
Well, I like Florida State. I like their ability to get to postseason, which I think is probably the next step for Coach Norvell. They're disappointed they didn't get there last year, but, to rebound off the 0-4, they did a terrific job, to be honest with you. And I'm excited to see kind of where it goes. I'm really interested to see kind of the impact that Jordan Travis can have as a starter straight from Jump Street, right? And that to me is really interesting, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing Jordan Travis, and I'm also excited to see Trey Benson and Micah Pittman and what they can add to that offense. They're going to be a really good running team. There's no getting around that part, right? And so I'm looking forward to that. And then on the back end of this, defensively, they've done some really good things. I like Adam Fuller's style. I like the way they kind of go about it. It's going to be fun to watch Florida State, but go beat Duquesne. and then get ready to play the LSU game. And I think the LSU game can really be an early opportunity for them to make a statement nationally about kind of where they are. You're getting Brian Kelly in his first game. You're kind of, you're coming off a win, we're going to assume, right? You feel good about where you are. And at the end of the day, if you can go to New Orleans and pull the upset, people are going to look at you totally different than they're looking at you right now. But I also think they're kind of ready to it, if that makes sense. I think the timing on this is right. In terms of his future, last time I checked, the former coach is still walking around with $18 million of their money.
Yeah.
So if they're going to make a change after, 3 years? If they're going to make a change after 3 years, I'd like to know what S&L they're looking at to pick up that cash at a low interest rate, because the last thing Florida State wants to get into is an uphill fight with the bank. And when you let another coach go for $18 million, then all of a sudden you get this other issue going. It's really interesting to see how that plays itself out, I think.
Wes, you know a ton about the ACC. That's why we love having you on. What I've heard the entire offseason, I want to get your thoughts. The ACC Atlantic. I guess NC State thinks they might have the best team they've had in a couple of decades.
Correct.
Wake Forest, we'll see about Sam Hartman, but we know what that offense can do. Hopefully Hartman can come back healthy. With Malik Cunningham and Louisville, Clemson's Clemson. The reason I bring that up, this Seminole schedule, Wes, after Duquesne, I just don't know if I see a lot of games that they're for sure going to win on that schedule.
Well, and that's why I think you got to back it down a notch too, right? I think you have to understand, okay, you just mentioned two schools, Wake Forest and NC State, right? Well, think about the coaching jobs that have been done there and how long that process has taken to get them back to where they're preseason top 20 type teams, right? It doesn't happen overnight anymore, and it certainly doesn't happen overnight in the volatile landscape that you're looking at. Look, I think Florida State can get to postseason, and that's a lot better than where they've been, in the last 3 years in many respects, right? So let's take a look at, at kind of where this season goes. I think they're going to be a better football team, both sides. I think they're going to be a more successful football team. But you also have to respect the fact you're probably going to play Wake Forest. That's a game with Sam Hartman that we might feel differently about, Ryan. But without Sam Hartman, is that enough to give you an opportunity to win the game? And are you developing and improving as a program? I think they are. But I also see, too, Clemson, who's a brand nationally, not just in the ACC. You're right about NC State. I've got high expectations for them. I don't know that they can win the league, but I think they can be a problem in the league. And then you talk about that group, Wake Forest, Louisville, Florida State. The Atlantic is a fist fight. Packer said it in the spring, and I agree with Mark. It's a fist fight. Clemson is the favorite, but they're going to be challenged, and they're going to be challenged at different intervals, and I think that's a really interesting part of this whole deal.
As we wrap up with Wes Durham, the play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Falcons, you also hear him during college football season calling ACC games on the ACC Network. You also see him on the ACC Network every weekday. Wes, leave us with this. Miami. Do you believe in the hype surrounding Tyler Van Dyke and Mario Cristobal?
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of reason to be excited, but Ryan, in these situations, it's often hard to predict if the switch can be flipped in just one night, so to speak, right? Look, the A&M game is huge, and I'm the first to recognize that. But at the same time, too, there is a long game to Mario Cristobal's rebuild here. No matter whether it was Cristobal or Lombardi coaching Miami, they were going to have questions about getting people stopped. And Tyler Van Dyke is a terrific prospect, and I'm excited to watch him play this year. Kind of excited to see Jalen Knighton run the ball. Excited to see a lot of guys run the ball. But how do they replace Mike Harley? How do they replace some of the key elements that made plays on the perimeter for them? I still think that's a question. And they can answer it on opening Saturday against Bethune-Cookman, and then maybe when they play other teams. But can they do it on the bigger stage like Texas A&M? I think that's a real question. Much like Florida State with an LSU, how do you play in those environments? I think, and look, here's the other thing too. Let's be honest. The ACC's got to be better in non-conference Power 5 games like this. They were 8-18 in non-conference Power 5 in Notre Dame last year. Got to be better than that. That's why the early season, the West Virginia, Pittsburgh game next Thursday night, the Virginia Tech, West Virginia game, the games that are out there, the ACC's got to be effective nationally as well if they want to be a factor when we get to November.
Wes, I know you're crazy busy. Your schedule is nuts. By the way, I know you're calling, Atlanta, Jacksonville this week. What's your first college game?
Friday night, next Friday night, we'll be in Durham for it's a unique game because it's the first game for two guys who've never been head coaches, Mike Elko at Duke and Stan Drayton at Temple. So Roddy and Taylor Davis and I will be at Temple, Duke on Friday night, and then the following week at Clemson, and then in week 3 we'll be in Blacksburg for Virginia Tech. So we're kind of excited to get cranked up and going on ACC Network.
No, that is terrific. Wes, final thought. Last year, you called Jacksonville State, Florida State.
Yeah.
I know that because I probably watched that ending 1,000 times. There's no way that Duquesne has anything for the Noles Saturday, right? I mean, that's just la-la land.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if Florida State does exactly what Florida State should do, there is no game. I mean, they're going to play 60 minutes, but Florida State should win comfortably. Yeah, Jacksonville State's a much better FCS program than Duquesne is. So, yeah.
All right, I'm just making sure because I had Seminole fans asking me. I haven't done my homework on Duquesne necessarily, but I figure there's no way lightning could strike twice. But you were in that press box last year with that ending, so you were the man to ask.
Well, DeMarcus Ware's son is a running back at Duquesne. That's about all I got for you.
Wes Durham, the voice of the Atlanta Falcons. You also see him all over the ACC network. Wes, thank you so much, brother. We'll talk again soon.
All right, Ryan. Be well.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to kind of acknowledge it.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
All right, it was a miracle.
The Drill. Mornings on 1010XL.
Can we go now?
People who call QC Kinetics are pretty much fed up with joint pain.
It's to the point where it's affecting their quality of life. Maybe they can't pick up their grandchildren anymore, or golf, or play tennis, or walk with their friends.
Dr. Justin Garzone, medical director at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, and no surgery.
The great thing about our therapies, there isn't any downtime. There's no side effects, so patients can get our treatment and continue on with their day-to-day life.
And Dr. Garzone speaks from experience. He had excruciating back pain and got relief at a QC Kinetics clinic.
Over a very short period of time, the pain went away completely, and I've had absolutely no symptoms or pain since my treatment.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Now, it looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Hacker here for my friends at Xfinity. Well, get the speed you need at a great price. It's also the fastest internet on the largest gig speed network. In fact, Xfinity gig speed internet is available to 99% of their footprint. You can enjoy all your favorite apps. They're all in one place. That's with the Flex 4K streaming box that's free with your Xfinity internet. You can stay connected on the go with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide, and Xfinity's internet service brings your entire experience together by connecting other services like xFi, Advanced Security, Xfinity Flex, and more. This is based on Xfinity's fastest available download speeds, not available in all areas. Performance may be limited by customers' device configuration. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Jacksonville, do what I did. Get hooked up with the good folks of Xfinity.
Concrete floors don't have to be ugly and hard to clean. Whether it's a garage with cracks, tire marks, and failed epoxy, or any concrete surface that isn't beautiful and maintenance-free, Shark Coatings will transform it. Our coating and warranty are stronger, more durable, and longer lasting than any other on the market. And because Shark Coatings is 100% UV stable for life, it's perfect for any concrete surface outside as well. Shark Coatings will let you reclaim those wasted hours spent pressure washing your driveway, patios, and walkways. Hit us up on social media or call 904-519-5055 to set up your free estimate today.
Is the urge to go a constant fear? Your prostate might be the culprit. Schedule your screening with Ackerman Urology today to fight back. Call 904-490-7400 or visit AckermanUrology.com.
And now that the kids are back at school, you can see the beating your house is taking. Carpets, tile, grout, and even the sofa needs some cleaning. If your home needs some cleaning, give Zero Res a call. Right now, get 50% off tile and grout ceiling. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Not 100, not 200, not even 300. I'm talking 400 pre-owned on the lot, ready to test drive at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. All makes, all models, all waiting for you to test drive and take home today. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program comes with your purchase. That's 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it. Your next great ride is waiting for you at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com today.
Come to Monahan Jewelers 4-day only store-wide 50 to 60% off sale this Wednesday through Saturday, August 24th through 27th. This huge sale is 4 days only. Everything is 50 to 60% off this Wednesday through Saturday only. We've bought so much brand new jewelry, we need to make room for it. Diamond jewelry, engagement semi-mounts, colored gemstones, even gold chains. 4 days only this Wednesday through Saturday, August 24th through 27th. Everything on display is 50 to 60% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Estate cleanouts, hoarding cleanouts, old appliances, and even tools. There are tons of reasons why you or someone you know may need expert help clearing space. J-Dog Junk Removal will responsibly help you free up space. That means when they leave your place, it looks better. Whether it's you or a loved one that needs one type of clean out at your home, trust the veterans at J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran owned and operated. Call 844-GET-JDOG or visit jdog.com.
Kick off this fall on the links at Junior Achievement's annual Golf Classic at San Jose Golf and Country Club. For more than 11 years, the funds raised support JA's efforts to help inspire and prepare our youth to succeed in a global economy. All participants enjoy on-the-green breakfast, lunch, drinks, post-play reception, awards, contests, prizes, and much more. To play or sponsor, contact Stephanie Saman at janfl.org or call 398-9944, extension 231.
The 9 after 5 keeps rolling at Southampton. Joe C. inviting you to jump on the tee every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Just call 287-PLAY and sign up. We'll give you a little time after work to get there. Always a fun 9-hole game. Chef Gary preparing something nice for afterwards. Prizes and more than anything else. Playing golf with buds and having some suds after. It's the 9 after 5 every Wednesday at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and get on the tee with Joe C.
Hey Gator fans, Hayes Carline here. Listen for my summer podcast about how Billy Napier is building back the Gators. We'll talk to players, staff, and Coach Napier about how the Gators get back to glory. This podcast is presented by the personal injury law firm of Harrell & Harrell.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Psst. Hey, come on, man. Wake up.
This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock tonight here on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, my friend Jeff Kerr, CBSSports.com, national NFL writer. We'll certainly look at the Jaguars. We'll also take a look around the rest of the National Football League with Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com. Also coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, Brent Beard. You'll get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark as we have actual college football games to preview. That's right, week 0 in college football. Saturday, which includes Florida State, North Carolina is on the field, Vanderbilt out at Hawaii, just to name a few. So we'll look at all those with Brent Beard coming up in less than a half an hour. As we mentioned, Friday night, the first football night under the Friday Night Lights for 2022 for the high school football season here locally. We'll have year 16 of the Friday Night Lights postgame show coming up here on 1010XL this Friday evening. One of the teams that a lot is expected out of is Ed White, one of the best Duval County public schools coming into 2022. Their head coach, Lawrence Johnson, joined me at High School Media Day. Here's that conversation right now with Ed White, head coach, Lawrence Johnson. Baker Sports High School Football Media Day 2022 at TIAA Bank Field. Ed White High School is in the building. Coach Lawrence Johnson joins us here on 1010XL. Coach, how we doing?
Doing pretty good. It's nice to come here and see all the teams and get to interact with some of the guys I haven't seen in a while. So I'm kind of excited. It's the first day of practice, so I'm expecting a good year, good turnout for today.
You're no longer the new kid on the block. Year 4 for you at Ed White. From when you took over the program to where you are now, are you satisfied?
I am. I think we're moving in the right direction. Some of those kids that I had when we first started off were young, and they've gained a lot of experience, and I think we're ready to kind of take a step to the next level now.
You have had ridiculous running backs in your tenure at Ed White. I think you got another one this year. The running game is what you guys are known for. Is that going to continue in 2022?
It is, but it's always our goal to be as balanced as possible, but we're going to do what the defense allows us to do, but I always like to play a physical brand of football also. So we're going to pound the rock, and we're going to take our shots in the passing game where they present themselves.
Tell us about your running back that's committed to Wake Forest.
I think he's the best player in the area. He plays defense for us. He plays running back for us. He can play some receiver, linebacker, safety. He just kind of does it all. So we're going to get him the ball as many ways as we can, and I know he's going to find the ball on defense. He's kind of a turnover machine. He always is around the football. So I'm excited to see the type of year he's going to have.
You know, it was an interesting offseason for you. I mean, let's be honest. Your two rivals that are kind of near you on the west side there have brand new head coaches in West Side and Riverside. So were people looking at Ed White as maybe a greener pastures, if you will?
Well, anytime there's a coaching change, sometimes that happens, and then kids are able to kind of move as much as they want to for the most part now. So even without coaching changes, you see a lot of movement on the high school level. But the guys who were in there, I know they're going to do a good job. They had been on staff at Westside and Riverside already. So I know they're going to try to kind of continue the tradition and the positive steps forward that they had already been taking.
You kind of circle games on the schedule when it comes out. Opening night is an interesting one for you guys. We talked to Verlin Dormany earlier. That game hasn't been played in a long, long time. There's probably some ulterior reasons as to why that game hasn't been played, but what does it mean to Ed White to be able to play Trinity Christian opening night?
Well, it's a big deal for our community. I think it's going to be a big game for the West Side, maybe the biggest game of the year. So it's our first time, and I started off as an assistant at Ed White back in 2007. We've never played them in the regular season ever. We've done some spring games and some kickoff classics, but nothing that counts on the record. So this is going to be a big deal. I think it's going to gain a lot of interest in the area, and a lot of people are going to be excited about it.
Final moments here with Lawrence Johnson, the head coach of Ed White. The bottom line is there's a lot of expectations for you guys this year. We talked about it before we started recording here. Do you welcome those expectations? People that cover high school football think you guys are going to be pretty good this year.
I do welcome them. I always look to do the best that we can. We're going to coach our kids hard. They're going to play hard. And we look to win every game that we play. So that's our mindset. We're going to be competitive. We're going to hit you, and we're going to fight in every single game. So the outcome is going to depend on how well we go out there and execute and perform. But I expect us to win, and that's what our kids are expecting now too.
Coach, best of luck. We'll be talking to you under the Friday Night Lights this year.
Thank you. Great to be here.
There you go, Lawrence Johnson of Ed White. That's a big one on Friday night, Ed White, Trinity Christian. I can tell you, I was out at Trinity Christian for a few hours on Monday. We're doing a very cool deal on the 1010XL channels on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Hackers High School Tour. You'll learn more about that beginning tomorrow, and our first episode drops on Friday. But being out around Trinity Christian, they are aware how big this game is against Ed White. Massive bragging rights on the west side this Friday night between Ed White and Trinity. Of course, you got Fletcher Mandarin. You got tons of big games, St. Augustine Bowls as well, and we'll break them all down under the Friday Night Lights this Friday evening. Coming up next, back into the world of the National Football League. My friend Jeff Kerr is a national NFL writer for CBS Sports. He's always kind enough to join us here to talk a little Jaguars, a little Trevor Lawrence, a little AFC South, and we'll take a look around the National Football League as well. Jeff Kerr, CBSSports.com, is next as Hacker After Dark rolls on here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The games, the practices, the press conferences.
The crowd was unbelievable. They were involved the whole game.
Home of the Jaguars. 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Dierks Bentley is live at Daly's Place, August 28th. You can win tickets with a VIP package. Text Dierks to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures for your chance to win at 641-1010.
I'm Hacker, and this high school football preview is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. 2022 should be another good year for Duval County on the high school gridiron. Private school programs like Bowles, Trinity Christian, and University Christian seemingly are always in the mix for a state title run, while public schools like Fletcher, Mandarin, Atlantic Coast, Rains, and Baldwin have had their fair share of postseason success as well. Expect more of the same this year.
After a major storm, you can count on JEA to safely restore power as quickly as possible. During Phase 1, we restore power to critical infrastructure, hospitals, shelters, and police and fire stations. In Phase 2, we put all our resources into restoring power to neighborhoods and businesses. And during Phase 3, we won't stop until every outage is resolved. Because when the community you serve is home, there's more than power on the line. Learn more at DoMoreWithJEA.com. JEA, building a more resilient community.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kid Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
If you've been involved in a car accident and are not sure of your legal options, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Tom Casey here with Griffin Service. As I look around Jacksonville, I see plumbing that could be held together better by duct tape, electrical work that can double as a shock collar, and AC work I know costs an arm and a leg on your utility bill. Save $1 today, but it costs you $10 down the road. At Griffin, we don't think you want, or maybe even know, you're hiring El Cheapo on cut rate work. So, if you need plumbing, AC, or electrical help, and you want it done right, call GriffinService.com and know you're getting the best.
With your home value up again, you are sitting on a pile of money. Don't just let it sit there. Use it. Hey, it's Prosser here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Introducing Loan Pronto's Equity Line of Credit program. You don't have to refinance, but you can access up to 97% of your home's value. Get cash now to pay off all your credit cards or do that home improvement project. Get your down payment for a new home or stash away for a safety net. You can get $50,000, even $100,000 or more out of your home, and the payments are crazy low. Think what you can do with $100,000 right now. Loan Pronto makes unlocking your equity easy, and they can probably even waive the appraisal fee. Don't let all the home equity pile up. Turn your house into an ATM machine and get the cash you need. Call Loan Pronto now, 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. You can also reach Loan Pronto at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
You'll hear Pete Prisco, senior NFL writer for CBS Sports, every Friday on The Frangie Show, brought to you by Showtime, Sports Cards and Collectibles.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars, 3 preseason games down, only 1 to go. They'll have a couple of joint practices in Atlanta on Wednesday and Thursday. They play the Falcons on Saturday, and that's it for the preseason. They, of course, are in Washington on Sunday, September 11th, to begin the regular season. Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Jeff, how you doing?
I'll tell you what, Ryan, I cannot wait for September 11th. I'm done with the preseason. I'm finished.
Yeah, look, and believe me, here in Jacksonville, we had the Hall of Fame game in Canton, so we've had one additional one compared to most other teams. Yeah, the interesting thing about the preseason, Jeff, we had 4, now most teams have 3, and it seems as the years go by, boy, the starting caliber players are playing less and less in the preseason.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I hate it personally. Like, I want to see the starters play more, but I think teams are up in the ante here with the joint practices. And look, it's hard to talk to the fans about, because I'm mostly in Philadelphia, and I did an Eagles 53-man roster projection. Well, I was told I don't know anything. I don't know this, I don't know that. I'm like, well, here's the problem. I'm there. Like, I was at camp. I was at other camps. I see what's going on, but fans don't get to see that in the joint practices. They don't get to see who's on the first, second, and third team. So they're at the mercy of these preseason games that ultimately don't mean that much unless you're fighting for a roster spot. And it's tough. I feel bad for them. I really do, because I feel like they should have the joint practices available for the fans. But I get it, because they don't want to give anything away. And it just seems like we're going to come to a standstill with this preseason here. We may not even have a preseason anymore.
Yeah, look, I mean, there are a lot of guys that aren't even playing. But on the flip side of that, here in Jacksonville, I mean, Trevor Lawrence threw 21 passes on Saturday night. I could not believe Andy Reid played Patrick Mahomes as much as he played him this past weekend. So it really does go down to the coaching staff, the organization, because a lot of teams feel very differently about these preseason games.
Oh, yeah, and Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, old school coaches, old school thinking. And Doug Peterson, look, I love how he's playing Trevor Lawrence, honestly. Like, he didn't play Trevor Lawrence in the Hall of Fame game, but he didn't have to, because Jacksonville has 4 preseason games. But I love how Jacksonville's been treating Lawrence this year. It's been like a rookie. It's a whole first-year program. It's like last year was out the door, didn't even happen. You had who was the Jacksonville player that ripped Urban Meyer the first week? Ryan.
Well, there was quite a lot of them. Are you talking about the very beginning of when he was hired here?
Yeah. No, it was the first week Doug was here. It was someone on the defensive line. I'm just trying to remember who it is. I drew a blank.
Yeah, look, I'd have to go back, but I know you had the issue with Lambeau. You had the issue with a lot of different guys that were on the roster last year, and it's a complete night and day scenario from when Urban was here to now what Doug Peterson's doing.
Yeah, and when I got a chance to speak to Jacksonville fans in Canton, I was there for the Hall of Fame, and I was telling them, look, you guys are going to love Doug Peterson. He's going to make your team better. He's going to put some professionalism into your program. He's a Super Bowl champion winning head coach. And I know in Philadelphia, everybody was kind of like, Doug Peterson, that's the crappy quarterback before Donovan. And I think that's how people remembered him. And now, like, Jacksonville's getting Doug Peterson, the Super Bowl winning head coach. I mean, there are a lot of good things that I liked out of Doug Peterson his first year in Philadelphia, how he played Carson Wentz, how he ran his offense. He wasn't afraid to go for it on 4th down. You know, we had a couple nicknames for Doug, some I can't say on air, but, it was good. And, that's one thing I think Jacksonville's really going to like about him. He has a young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. They seem to get the guys he wanted. Like, I'm totally expecting a guy like Evan Ingram to take the next step under Doug Peterson, because he really knows how to use tight ends.
Yeah, by the way, I think it was Josh Allen that said something about Urban. I think that's who it was.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
That's who it was. I was like, was it Josh Allen? And I actually looked it up on my computer. It was Josh Allen.
Yeah, so if memory serves, a lot's transpired since then, but yeah, I believe it was Josh Allen. You mentioned Evan Ingram. Again, we're here with Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports. Evan Ingram was one of the big hauls in free agency, along with Zay Jones, along with Christian Kirk. And I got to tell you, Jeff, those 3 guys have stood out this preseason. Ingram found the end zone against Cleveland. Kirk, 5 grabs last week against Pittsburgh. Zay Jones did some nice things against Cleveland. It's nice to see when you actually invest in free agents, those free agents actually do something on the field.
You know, everybody wants to slam Jacksonville for how much they pay Christian Kirk, but when you look at the wide receiver market now, Christian Kirk ain't getting paid that much. And I got to give Jacksonville credit for kind of resetting the market. And I don't want to compare different sports here, but you're kind of seeing that too in the NBA, like Kevin Durant not getting traded today. You know, they just couldn't find an offer for him because Rudy Gobert got 4 first-round picks. The only difference was in the NFL, everybody kind of caved because Jacksonville paid Christian Kirk early in the offseason, and he's going to be a good player for them. And you're right, Zay Jones has been an underrated player, a really good guy in the slot. Marvin Jones is still a good receiver. They still got talent there. Laviska Shenault's still there. I like what they did on the offensive line with Brandon Scherff. I like what Jacksonville is building this year. Are they going to win the AFC? No. Can they win 6-7 games? Absolutely. And in that division, I think the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, 7 games is what I have them pegged for. And heck, they've won 4 combined the last 2 years. 7 would be a gigantic improvement. Trayvon Walker, Jeff, was the number 1 pick in the draft. There was a lot of conversation. Should they go Walker? Should they go Hutchinson? Maybe Evan Neal? Look, it's very early, obviously, but I don't know what else Trayvon Walker could have done in the first couple of preseason games that he saw action. I mean, the guy was making impactful plays in every game. A sack against the Raiders, drawing a holding penalty on a key 3rd down against Cleveland. He was very disruptive against Pittsburgh as well. I think Jacksonville is ecstatic right now at the way Trayvon Walker's playing.
I think so too, especially when you have number 1 overall picks in back-to-back years. And look, I thought Aiden Hutchinson was going to be a stud. I still think he is. But I think Trayvon Walker just seems to fit what Mike Caldwell wants to do with that defense. And I saw in the Hall of Fame game, he just looked like a man amongst boys there. You could tell why he was number 1 overall pick. He was getting pressure on the quarterback. He was stopping the run. You can line him in different formats. You can run a 5-2. You can run a 4-4 with a Trayvon Walker. And I think that's what Jacksonville saw in it. Was it a sexy pick? No, but he's a Georgia Bulldog. You know, he's going to play, and he's going to be good. And look, I'll just say this. I just like what they did and how they approached it. They just said, you know what, we're not trading down. We can't get the offer we want to trade down. This is the best guy on the board. We're going to take it on our board. We're going to take him. And I think they're going to be more than happy with Trayvon Walker, especially what I saw in the Browns game for sure. But definitely when I was to watch him live, I'm like, wow, this guy looks like a really good football player.
Jeff, final Jaguar-related question. I want to get into some of the other topics in the NFL with you again. Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com. Travis Etienne last year when he got hurt, I don't think we really appreciated how impactful that was going to be because everybody was so excited about Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. And then obviously Urban, that turned into a nightmare, and you were without a first-round pick for the entire year. Again, limited action, but seeing Etienne out there, that's a dynamic that he brings to Doug Peterson's offense that, man, the Jaguars just simply did not have a year ago.
Oh, yeah, and look, I'm not here to defend Urban Meyer by any means, but you have to wonder how Urban Meyer would have handled Travis Etienne, because remember, he wanted to line him up at receiver, and he had a bunch of things for him, and I was kind of intrigued by that. I think it would have helped Trevor Lawrence out. I thought it would have helped, just James Robinson out, but I think Doug's going to use him as kind of like, maybe like a Brian Westbrook type. When Doug Peterson was in Philadelphia toward the end of Brian Westbrook's career, he was an offensive quality control coach. They used Brian Westbrook is kind of like that Marshall Faulk type. I think that's what you could see out Travis Etienne. And they're going to need to, because James Robinson, he is going to be ready by week 1, right?
That's the rumor, yeah. They have not he's not had any contact yet in live action, but all indications are they hope he's playing week 1 against Washington.
Yeah, so let's just say he's 50-50 right now. You're going to need Travis Etienne at the beginning of that season to carry your offense. And that's one thing I like about Travis Etienne. He in a way, he opens up a lot of things for you in that passing game. Just because you're going to have guys on Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Evan Ingram, and you're going to be going after Trevor Lawrence because you want to see how he handles pressure. Well, Travis Etienne's going to be his check down guy. And I think Travis Etienne can get a lot of yards receiving. Remember, he was the ACC's all-time leading receiver amongst running backs when he departed. So, he can play. I really like what Trevor Lawrence brings to this offense. Travis Etienne. You know what? I had a Trevor Lawrence point I wanted to point out to you here, Ryan. Did you know Trevor Lawrence had one of the highest passer ratings in the fourth quarter last year?
I remember reading that somewhere. I read that recently. Yeah, it was in the top 5 in the league.
Yeah, and everybody's like, well, it's garbage time. I'm like, not every fourth quarter is garbage time. And, for as bad as Jacksonville was, Trevor Lawrence had a lot of I think he had 11 touchdowns and 108 passer rating. I mean, for a rookie quarterback in the situation he was in, that's pretty good. That's why I'm excited to see what this team can provide this year.
Jeff, let's kind of take an outside look at things going on outside of Jacksonville. We'll begin with Deshaun Watson. What's been the reaction you've gotten around the league to 11 games and a $5 million fine?
I think people are more upset at the fine than they are at the suspension because they know what Cleveland did. And basically Cleveland decided, hey, you know what? We're going to give him a $1 million base salary this year because we knew this was coming. Me personally, I think I would have kind of one-upped Cleveland. And again, Roger Goodell, he had to settle on this. But I think I would have said, I'll tell you what, here's what we're going to do. You're suspended 2023. So when the fine really hits you in your wallet, not 2022, and kind of would have just let him play this year and then kind of, put that fine in. But again, that's overall, though, I'm not happy about this whole situation. I mean, I think it warranted a year suspension. The fine, I think it should have been a little higher than $5 million, probably $10 million. I mean, these are serious accusations here. And look, he's settled. And I just hate how Deshaun Watson just doesn't seem to hold himself accountable for anything. And neither does Jimmy Haslam, or neither does Andrew Berry. Kevin Stefanski, I mean, I feel bad for him because he's got to deal with this whole thing. But overall, I just don't see any remorse from Deshaun Watson. The only time he apologizes is because he had to, because the settlement was coming.
Final moments here with Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com. Yeah, the Watson thing was weird. He played here in Jacksonville for 3 series, looked pretty bad. Now he's not going to play again until December. So it's just bizarre what's going on there with Deshaun Watson. Now that that's been settled, people have seemingly forgot, Jeff, and I actually forgot about it too till a couple of weeks ago because fantasy football drafts are going on. The NFL still has to look at the Alvin Kamara situation, right? In New Orleans, there was an issue in Las Vegas involving Kamara. You've heard nothing about it because everybody was so focused on Deshaun Watson. You got to wonder when something's going to come out about Alvin Kamara in New Orleans if the NFL is going to take any action there.
It doesn't even look like it's going to be at the start of the season. It may not even be this year, which, again, for fantasy football people, I'm in a bunch of dynasty leagues. I have Alvin Kamara, so I've definitely been watching this with open arms here. But you're right, Ryan. You haven't heard anything about it. You heard about the incident in Vegas with the Pro Bowl weekend, and then it kind of just went under the radar, and then now it's back in the spotlight, and the NFL's just like, well, we won't have a decision by the start of the year. So when is the decision going to be? Is it going to be in the middle of the year? Is it going to be at the end of the year? Is it going to be next year? There just doesn't seem to be any timetable. But right now, I'm not banking on anything for 2022.
Yeah, it's just a weird scenario going on out there in New Orleans. Jeff, you're based in Philadelphia. I got to ask, Gardner Minshew still unbelievably popular in these parts. He's looked really good for the Eagles in the preseason. How would you assess Gardner and where he stands up there in Philly?
Well, it was funny, Ryan. So he didn't have that great of a training camp, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe Gardner's just not a practice player because I didn't really get an opportunity to see the guy practice last year. Obviously, he got traded right before the season started, and yeah, he's looked good in games, and he's more than adequate as a number 2 quarterback. He probably could start for a lot of teams, a couple of teams in this league, Seattle being one of them, but. Yeah, I like how Gardner Minshew is a reliable number 2 to Jalen Hurts in case Jalen Hurts has to miss a game or two. They don't seem to miss a beat with Minshew. I covered the New York Jets game last year. Gardner had one of his better games. And look, is it an ideal situation for him? No, and he's admitted that. But he also said he's willing to help Jalen Hurts. He's willing to help this team out. This is the last year of his contract. He gets it. He understands it. He's being a team player. He's a really friendly guy. I really like talking to the guy personally. He just seems to be having fun doing something he loved. And he spent the whole offseason living in a van thing is just crazy.
Yeah, no, that's Gardner. I mean, we had his dad on every Friday here on 1010XL. We called it Flint Fridays with Flint Minshew. And the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. His father's the same way, and we love those guys here in the city of Jacksonville and wish Gardner Minshew nothing but the best. Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jeff, thank you, my friend. The next time we talk, it'll be the regular season. Let's catch up maybe before that Jaguar-Philadelphia game, we'll see where Jacksonville stands at that point.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be at that game. I'm still trying to work my way here. I don't know where I'm going to be at week 1, if I'm going to sit at home or not, but I definitely have that Commanders-Jaguars game on my calendar. I may have to go see Wentz versus Peterson.
It'll be fun. And look, the NFL schedule makers have a good sense of humor. Not only is it Peterson and Wentz, but the reason Wentz is probably not in Indianapolis any longer is the Jaguars and what happened in Week 18 last year. So I'm sure Carson was thrilled when he sees he's opening up against this Jaguar defense with a new team.
I'm not going to lie, Ryan. I don't laugh too much at NFL, at stuff that happens around the league, but I kind of did when Jacksonville beat Indianapolis just because of how Wentz got his way out of Philly. It was just kind of like, what goes around comes around, that type of thing. And, I remember saying going into that week, I wouldn't be shocked if Jacksonville found some way to win that game just because it looked like the Colts they had everything under control, and then the free fall just started to hit the week before that.
Well, hopefully the Jaguars can experience more winning this year under head coach Doug Peterson. Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com. Jeff, thank you, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Always a pleasure, Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
Hi, I'm Mike Detke.
I'm Jeremy Mincy.
I'm Amani Toomer.
You're listening to 1010XL. 1010XL.
1010XL. 92.5 FM.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE? Regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. And for unlimited time, your consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 904-664-8217.
Googans, do you suffer with neck or back pain? My friend Dr. Alan Nathans at Disc Centers of America on Bay Meadows Road helps people diagnosed with bulging, herniated, and degenerated discs, sciatica, or stenosis. Dr. Nathans uses that DRX 9000 non-surgical spinal decompression table to gently unbulge and unherniate discs that are causing sciatica. Don't do another cortisone injection. Stay active and healthy as you get older. Dancing at 50, golf at 60, the river run at 70. Yes, yes, and yes. DrNathans.com.
High Flying Jacko here, sports fans. Woody's Barbecue has the fallingest off-the-bone ribs and chicken, the moistiest turkey and pork, and the bestest French fries and vegetables.
At Woody's Barbecue, it's what we do. Let's eat.
Hey, Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Hello, Jacksonville. This is Greg McGarity, President and CEO of Gator Bowl Sports. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game and events have been a Jacksonville staple for more than 75 years. We support more than 4,200 local youth annually through Gator Bowl charities. Gator Bowl Sports is a perfect way for local companies and individuals to get involved. We'd love to meet with you and talk about how you can join our team. If you'd like to learn more, contact us at 798-1700. 798-1700.
This is Hayes Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that specializes in pest, termites, mosquito, and rodent prevention. I tell you what, when I got my new home, I had to put on my reporter's hat, find out who really is the best, and it turns out there's no competition. Kingfish provides exceptional service and treats me like a valued customer, not just an account. That's why I wholeheartedly recommend Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you looking to be a part of a company where you feel respected and your efforts will be recognized?
Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. We're hiring professional painters and trainees who are friendly and have an eagerness to learn and grow. If you don't take yourself too seriously, but do take your profession seriously, you're likely to be a good fit here. Great pay, paid time off, medical, dental, and a company-matched 401k are just a few of the benefits waiting for you at Performance Painting. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting, quality coatings applied with pride.
Equal opportunity employer.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here, and right now is the time to ramp up your drafting for fantasy football season. I always use Underdog Fantasy to draft now because there's no in-season management. Of course, I do it to try and win the $10 million in prizes too, but it organically prepares me for my local season-long drafts as well. So sign up now, head to UnderdogFantasy.com or the App Store, and when you do sign up, use promo code 1010XL. Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, don't forget to sign up with promo code 1010XL.
So you got a letter from your insurance company saying that your policy will be canceled if you don't replace your roof. I did, and before I did anything, I called Ken Lawler and Fifth Element Adjusting. Ken, how's it work?
Jeff, if you've received a non-renewal letter from your insurance carrier, our team will help you navigate the confusing process and review your policy for you. Our goal is to get your damaged property replaced so you can get back to your life. Call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit feaclaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
It's the reason Friday shines so bright. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Friday Night Lights.
Recap this week's high school football games with Hacker and Andrew Gibson. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, hello. Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. College football season officially kicks off in less than 72 hours. If you can believe it, they were calling it Week 0. Florida State is on the field. North Carolina is on the field. A Big Ten matchup between Northwestern and Nebraska. The Illinois Fighting Illini are on the field. And Vanderbilt, out of the Southeastern Conference, travels to Honolulu. Are you kidding me? To take on Hawaii. Let's talk about all of it with one of my best buds in the college football world, Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News, and you'll get him every week here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, the blood, the sweat, and the tears that you have put forth for the last 7 months finally comes to fruition as college football is back on Saturday.
Well, it's a wonderful time of year just to get going. And let's be honest here, these are games that if it was in November or December, heck, will we watch 5 minutes of it? But because we haven't seen anything in 9 months, we'll see a few minutes probably about of every one of them. Now, for our listeners and viewers, here's something to keep in mind. And this is a sermon on a later day, but we're going to have the season starting at this time on a yearly basis when the playoffs expand, because they're not going to be able to get games in, all of them, and be able to have a break unless they do that. So this is a novelty right now, but it's going to be a certainty coming up in a few years. And heck, don't we hear every year that by this time of year, these players are saying, we're tired of hitting each other, let's play somebody? Well, that's about to happen.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And look, we'll spend more time on Florida, Georgia, Miami next week as their seasons kick off. But Florida State, Brent, does start their season on Saturday. Supposed to be a tune-up game against Duquesne, although you have to remind yourself Jacksonville State was supposed to be a tune-up game last year.
Yeah.
I don't think lightning would strike twice, but what do you hope to see from the Seminoles on Saturday in this paycheck game for Duquesne as Florida State prepares for LSU on Labor Day weekend?
They need this game. And look, they just need some positive momentum. I'm hoping the weather is not going to be a real factor for this time of year. But some things to keep in mind, the FSU president, Richard McCullough, has put a little bit more pressure on Mike Norvell by saying FSU is expected to win, and we're going to be very aggressive. And then I know FSU fans want to forget this, but they're still paying Willie Taggart $3.5 million every January now through 24. Heck, that's a good deal if you can get it.
That's a great deal for Willie Taggart.
But Norvell is 8-13. That we all know that needs to get fixed. Here's an amazing stat for FSU. The transfer portal, they've got better talent. Under Norvell, they've had 30 players transferred out. Only 2 have gone to Power 5 schools.
Wow.
2, heck. Now, what that tells you is he's had to slowly come in here and to overcome a lot that Jimbo did. Yes, Jimbo, at the end of his tenure at Florida State, and certainly with Willie Taggart. Those are issues they've had to deal with. But I think the good thing about it is, I mean, look, they've got some players. I mean, Jordan Travis at quarterback, last 6 games last year, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's considerable improvement. Well, one of the more interesting things that they're going to have now just think about this a minute. They've got a wide receiver transfer, Johnny Wilson, who comes over from Arizona State. Heck, he's 6'7". 6'7" as a wide receiver, 235 pounds. Now, if you're matched up with a 5'10" defensive back, who's going to win that jump ball in a situation like that? And again, the kid may not even play a lot, but I loved what they've actually got with that. And I hope you're sitting down with this. The people I talked to in Tallahassee have said, believe it or not, the offensive line is actually going to be better. They're actually going to have a situation hacked where they've actually got backups. And the problem is last year was when they had their starting 5 play, they won those games. When they had an injury, they lost those games. So, look, are they going to be great? No. But I think you can see anywhere from 6-6 to 7-5. And if they have a few guys come through, this team could even be 8-4, which I think they'd sign a contract for right now, would they not?
Absolutely. And a bowl game, you're not kidding. Brent Beard here with us. You get him on First Coast News. You also get him here during college football season with me on Hacker After Dark. The only concern I would have, Brent, about Florida State and their fan base, if you beat Duquesne by 50, you're probably going to be feeling really good, and then reality might set in the next week when you go to New Orleans to take on Brian Kelly and LSU. But we'll see. Florida State kicks it off on Saturday. I'll tell you a cool story for week 0 is Vanderbilt. Look, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about Vanderbilt this year, Brent, but Vanderbilt travels to Honolulu to take on Hawaii, 10:30 on the CBS Sports Network. What a cool trip for those Vanderbilt kids.
It actually is, and the importance of this game is they've got to win this game. They've got some winnable games in September. They've got Hawaii, then they've got Elon. So, but there's some questions here. I mean, Mike Wright at quarterback. He played a decent amount last year, and has he improved? The amazing thing is the Vanderbilt media have been able to watch practice, which is a really refreshing thing to hear. The other thing they've got to do is one of the better defensive players, Miles Capers, had a knee injury that ended his season in the last week of preseason practice. So not sure what they're going to do to replace him. They've got a senior, Mike Owusu. That's a possibility. Darren Uga and B.J. Dikate or other possibilities to replace him. But I'm with you. This is a fascinating game because Vandy may actually win it. And then you've got the Hawaii team that they fired Todd Graham. He resigned, or he actually resigned. I mean, actually they fired him probably, but their coach is Timmy Chang.
Oh, yeah, the former quarterback, right?
Yes, the former quarterback with that. Now, they'll be able to throw the ball, but their defense last year was worse in the Mountain West. That's got to be better, but this truly is a game that Vanderbilt may be they can't do it with a lot of teams, line up and run the ball and win the day. So that's a real possibility. But yes, we'll all have a nap Saturday afternoon so we can stay up and watch some of this one.
Final moments here with Brent Beard. You get him on First Coast News, and you also get him right here with me on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And yeah, I just think it's cool that Clark Lee and the staff there, odds are they're probably not going to a bowl game. I'm not breaking any news. So their bowl game is in August when they take that trip to Hawaii. Brent, final thought on the games, because I want to finish with Urban. So about real quick, 60 seconds. Any other game that jumps out to you on the Week 0 slate?
Well, I think everybody wants to see that Nebraska-Northwestern game to see how often the Nebraska offensive linemen throw up during the game. Which is one of the silliest statements ever made. I think people want to see North Carolina and see what they've got on the ACC network. Bama plays Utah State in their game one. Utah State actually plays UConn. So a couple of these teams playing early, like Florida State and Utah State, should help them actually in their next game. So I think that's something to watch too.
I will watch a nauseating amount of Week 0 action. I've already told Heidi. I said, honey, college football's back. Plus, you got the Jaguars on Saturday afternoon. So Saturday will be a very good day. All right, Brent, we'll obviously do more with you next week, game-related. Let's end with this. Urban Meyer back in the college game, not on the sideline, but on TV, back with Fox. It was a disaster of monumental proportions here in Jacksonville and throughout the National Football League. Urban is now back in the friendly confines of college ball. Brent, how is he viewed now compared to how he was viewed 2 years ago?
Well, I think there are a lot of people who believe, and I agree with this, that his coaching career needs to be over. He has been a disaster, frankly, at the end of his tenure wherever he's gone. There's no doubt he's a tremendous coach. Gator fans aren't going to get back those national championship rings, but there's still a lot of Bull Gators that don't like him, and they don't want him in their ring of honor, name on the stadium type thing. So it's taken a hit, but look, he'll get with Rob Stone and Brady Quinn, Reggie Bush, and Matt Leinart, and he'll be the guy they all look at, and he'll be the expert. And unfortunately, some desperate athletic director will pay a lot of money to get him to come back into college coaching at some point. So look, in explaining the game, he'll do fine. He's one of the best at doing that. And it's really going to be interesting to see how not only Urban, but Dan Mullen at ESPN, how those guys do. Now, I'm guessing with Mullen, they won't be asking him any recruiting questions from the ESPN 300 when he's on ESPN. But yes, both those guys will do fine in their job as they basically audition for another college job down the line, right?
Yeah, there's no question about it. Urban back with Fox. You did mention Dan Mullen with ESPN. Brent, I lied. Give me an additional 60 seconds. You are an Alabama alum. Your brother does sports radio in the state of Alabama. Nick Saban, an 8-year extension for what, $93-some-odd million. Yes. He's 70 years old. I mean, there's no way he sees the end of that contract, right?
if his health was poor, I would say that'd be possible. But as he said, if I retire, I don't have anything to do. So, and look, here's a litmus test for Saban. Two things real quick is if they're 1, 2, or 3 in recruiting, if they end up like 15th in recruiting, at that point you'll know it's near the end. But the other thing is, and I will say, he is still grossly underpaid, because when he started in 2007, since then, the student population at the University of Alabama has doubled and tripled.
Wow.
Now, do the math on that and tell me what he's worth then.
It's a good point. Yeah, and look, the 8-year contract, there's a lot of reasons to do it. And one of the reasons, negative recruiting, right? People recruiting against Alabama are saying, why would you go play for Saban? He's not going to be there for the next 3 or 4 years. Well, Alabama trying to turn that over, saying, well, wait a minute, we just gave him an 8-year contract. He will be here for your entire college career. A guy that'll be here the entire college football season is my friend Brent Beard. Brent, Saturday we are off and running, and next week, Labor Day weekend. What a weekend that'll be. We might have a 2-parter with you next week, Brent. There'll be so much to get into. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk in a week.
Can't wait. Take care, bud.
And thank you to my friend Brent Beard for joining me here tonight on Hacker After Dark. College football officially back on Saturday. Again, Florida State is on the field. Vanderbilt traveling to Hawaii. North Carolina plays a Big Ten game, actually, on Saturday with Northwestern and Nebraska. Illinois is on the field as well. So it's not great. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it's a great lineup. But, hey, it's college football, and we will certainly watch and learn as much as we can before the big opening weekend all throughout the country is next weekend, of course, Labor Day weekend. That'll just about wrap it up for what has been a very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. We have a lot of people to thank, including, again, my friend Brent Beard. To get him on First Coast News, you also get him right here with me on Hacker After Dark. The head football coach at Ed White High School, Lawrence Johnson, joins us. Always appreciate Coach Johnson for coming on board. They have a big one Friday night as they take on Trinity Christian in the regular season opener for both programs. Wes Durham, the play-by-play voice of the Atlanta Falcons. You also see him all over the ACC network. Love the conversation with Wes, not only about Falcons, Jaguars, but talked a little Florida State, a little Miami with him as well, and Jeff Kerr of CBSSports.com, who covers the National Football League. They all joined you tonight here on Hacker After Dark. We'll be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we'll do it all over again. Dylan Denmark was your producer this evening. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green, and Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on Hacker After Dark, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you again on a Thursday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
At Key Buick GMC, receive 0% financing up to 36 months on select GMCs, $500 off all new vehicles for all active, retired, enlisted, and previous military. Whenever you purchase a brand new vehicle from Key, whether it's a Buick or GMC, it always comes with that lifetime powertrain warranty. A full allotment is in now and available. So visit the good folks at Key Buick GMC right across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions near